All right, so get this. We're diving into online safety today.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, you sent me some articles about Roblox, and honestly, it's causing a huge uproar right now.
Yeah. Roblox is completely changing how they're handling safety, especially for kids under 13.
Like, it seems like they're trying to find that sweet spot,
Mm,
you know?
yeah.
Give kids the freedom to have fun and connect with their friends,
Right.
but also protect them from all the bad stuff online.
It's tough, especially when you think how big Roblox is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not just a game, it's like a whole online world
right.
where tons of kids are hanging out every day.
So, for those of us who maybe haven't been following all the details,
Sure.
what exactly are these new restrictions that Roblox is putting in place?
So they're doing a few things. First, they're changing the chat system for kids under 13.
Okay.
Instead of typing freely, they'll have these pre-selected phrases and emojis.
So it's like they're trying to prevent them from accidentally sharing too much.
Exactly. Or from even talking to people they shouldn't be talking to.
Yeah. And I guess that makes it harder for like
Yeah,
predators or, people with bad intentions to target them.
exactly. And it's not just chat.
Okay.
They're also making parents give permission for any direct messaging,
Oh, wow.
like both in the games and outside of them.
So parents really have to be in control now, huh?
Yeah, it's a pretty big change.
Some parents are probably thrilled and some kids are probably rolling their eyes.
Right. Some people think it's absolutely necessary
Yeah.
to protect kids, and others think it's going way too far.
It's interesting because in one of the articles you sent Gamershop Online,
Mm-hmm.
they had a whole comment section where people were going back and forth about this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like one reader, Gemma, I think her name was.
Okay.
She was wondering if these restrictions are even enough.
Wow.
Like she wanted Roblox to go even further, like maybe limit when kids can play
Interesting.
or make it harder to lie about your age.
Which brings up a really important point. How much responsibility should these tech companies have when it comes to keeping kids safe online?
Right, like is it enough to just put these restrictions in place?
Yeah.
Or do they need to be doing even more to monitor what's happening in their games?
And maybe even controlling the experience a bit more.
That's a tough question.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, you want kids to have the freedom to explore and have fun online.
Or
But on the other hand, we can't pretend that there aren't real dangers out there.
definitely, we've seen some really scary examples.
Right. And it's not even just about protecting kids from predators or inappropriate content.
Like
It's
it-
also about protecting them from themselves sometimes,
Exactly. Kids don't always make the best decisions online.
especially younger kids.
Right. They might accidentally share personal information or get involved in drama or even fall for scams.
And that's where these parental controls and age restrictions come in, right?
Exactly. They're like a safety net
Okay.
to try to keep kids away from stuff that could be harmful.
But these tools only work if parents actually understand how to use them, right?
That's the key.
So you're saying it's not enough for parents to just assume that the tech companies are taking care of everything.
Right. It's a shared responsibility.
Okay.
Tech companies have to build safety features and
Yeah.
parents have to be involved and informed.
And talk to their kids about online safety.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the challenges here, like finding that balance between safety and freedom,
Right.
figuring out the role of parental control,
Yeah.
and understanding the responsibility of these tech companies.
Now, the question is, how will these restrictions actually play out in practice?
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to announce these big changes,
Right.
but it's a whole other thing to make them work in the real world.
Exactly. And you have to make sure that they don't backfire.
Right, because you can imagine some kids seeing these restrictions and just rebelling even harder.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
So we need to understand the details of how these features work and what their limits are.
And how they might change the whole Roblox experience.
Exactly.
So what are some of the challenges that Roblox might face in trying to make all of this happen?
Well, one of the biggest is just how complicated their platform is.
Yeah.
I mean, Roblox isn't just one game. It's like a million games all put together,
Wow.
all made by users.
So it's kind of like trying to police the Wild West, but online?
Kind of. And that makes it really hard to come up with safety rules that work for everything.
Because what might be okay in one game could be totally inappropriate in another.
Exactly. And that's where things get tricky.
Okay.
Roblox uses these automated systems, and they have human moderators too.
Yeah.
But with so much content being created all the time, some stuff is bound to slip through the cracks.
So it sounds like they're walking a tightrope,
Yeah,
trying to create a safe and controlled environment, but without ruining all the fun and creativity.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge that pretty much every online platform is facing.
Especially the ones that are popular with kids.
Right. Which is why this whole conversation is so important.
Yeah, it's not just about Roblox. It's about the future of online safety in general.
Exactly what Roblox is doing now could change how other platforms approach this whole issue.
Wow. Okay, so we've laid the groundwork here. We've talked about what these new restrictions are and why they're happening.
Now let's get into the details of how they actually work.
Yeah, how are they actually going to pull this off?
One of the most important changes involves how they moderate content. So before we get into all the technical stuff,
Yeah.
we were talking about how these changes might affect kids, you know?
Right, especially because for a lot of kids, Roblox is like their main way to connect with friends.
Exactly. It's not just a game for them.
So changing how they chat and message each other, that's a big deal.
It is, and that's why Roblox is using this thing called age gating.
Age gating.
Yeah, it means they're trying to make the experience different depending on how old you are.
Okay, so how does that actually work? I mean, do they just trust kids to enter their real birthday?
Well, that's part of it.
Because, let's be real, kids lie about their age all the time online.
You're telling me, and that's why Roblox are trying to get smarter about it?
Okay.
They're using some pretty advanced technology like AI.
AI.
Yeah, to try and figure out if someone's lying about their age.
How can AI even do that?
Well, they're looking at how people play the games,
Interesting.
like the choices they make, the things they build.
So the AI is like a virtual detective.
Kind of. It's trying to spot patterns that might give away a kid's real age.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
It is, and it's a huge challenge technically,
Yeah, I can imagine.
because how do you teach an AI to tell the difference between like
Right.
a mature 10-year-old and an immature 13-year-old?
Wow, that's a tough one.
It is. But let's get back to those restrictions.
Okay.
You mentioned that they're not just limiting chat.
Right. What else are they putting behind this age gate?
So one of the big things is restricting access to certain experiences.
Experiences.
Yeah, like games and virtual worlds that have mature content. Roblox has this rating system. You know, like movies and video games have ratings.
Right.
And now they're going to be a lot stricter about enforcing those ratings.
So no more little kids accidentally wandering into a game that's way too intense for them.
That's the idea. But here's the thing.
What's that?
Roblox has so much user-generated content.
Right. People are creating new games and experiences all the time.
Exactly. So it's really hard for them to keep up with it all.
So even with the age gating,
Yeah.
some stuff might still slip through.
It's possible. And that's why parental controls are so important.
Ah,
Even with the best technology in the world, parents still need to be involved.
makes sense. So let's talk about those parental controls.
Okay.
What can parents actually do, and how effective are these tools?
Well, Roblox has made some big improvements in the last few years.
Oh, good.
Parents have a lot more control now.
Like what kind of control?
Well, they can choose what kinds of games their kids can play, who they can chat with,
Okay.
and even how much money they can spend in the game.
Wait, hold on. They can spend money in Roblox.
Yeah, a lot of these free games make money through microtransactions.
Microtransactions.
Yeah, it means you can buy virtual items with real money.
And kids can just do that on their own.
Well, that's the thing. Parents can use the controls to set limits on spending or even turn off purchases completely.
Okay, that's good to know.
But again, it only works if parents know about these controls and actually use them.
So we're back to that shared responsibility thing.
Exactly. Technology can only do so much.
Right. Parents have to step up too.
And it's not just about setting restrictions.
What else?
It's about talking to your kids about online safety, teaching them how to think critically,
Yeah.
and making good decisions when they're online.
So it's not just about saying don't do this and don't do that.
Right. It's about giving them the skills to navigate the online world safely.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, the role of parents.
Now, I want to bring in the human side of this.
Okay.
How do these restrictions affect kids psychologically?
Right. How does it change how they develop their social skills, their sense of independence?
That's a really interesting question.
And a complicated one, I bet.
It is. There's no easy answer.
Okay.
It probably depends on the kid, their personality, their family.
Right.
But one thing's for sure,
What's that?
kids need some freedom to explore, to experiment, even to make mistakes.
I agree.
And finding that balance between protecting them and letting them grow, that's the hardest part for parents.
It is. So maybe we shouldn't think of these restrictions as a way to completely control kids online.
Okay.
Maybe it's more about guiding them, supporting them as they figure out this whole digital world.
I like that it's about giving them a framework, some boundaries, but still letting them develop their own online identity.
Okay, so let's bring it back to Roblox.
Sure.
What are some of the unique challenges they face with all of this?
Well, one of the biggest is just the sheer size of their platform.
Right, they have millions of users.
Over 200 million active users every month.
Wow, and a lot of them are kids.
A huge percentage are under 13.
So it's not just about creating the technology, it's about making it work for that many people.
Exactly. They need systems that can handle all that data, all those users, all that content.
Yes. And they have to do all of that without making Roblox boring.
Right. They can't get so focused on safety that they forget about the fun.
Yeah, that would defeat the whole purpose.
It would.
It's a tough balancing act.
It is, but it's an important one because more and more of our lives are happening online.
All right, so we've covered the technology, the psychology, the challenges.
Yeah.
But now I want to end this part of our deep dive by thinking about the future.
The future.
Yeah. What does all this mean for online safety, not just for Roblox, but for the whole internet?
That's a big question.
It is, and I don't think anyone knows the answer for sure.
But what we can say is that.
It's like we're on the edge of our seats waiting to see how this all plays out.
Right. Will these Roblox changes actually work?
And will other companies follow their lead?
That's why this deep dive is so important, I think. We've brought together all these different perspectives.
Right. From the tech side to the parenting side to what it means for kids.
It helps us understand the bigger picture.
Exactly. Because, like you said, this isn't just about one game or one company.
It's about how we navigate this whole digital world that's changing so fast.
And speaking of different perspectives, remember those comments we talked about?
From the Gamer Shop Online article.
Yeah, there was Reagan who got pretty upset with Mia for comparing this to healthcare.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Reagan thought it was a totally ridiculous comparison.
But I actually think Mia had a point, even if it was a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
It's about how complicated and confusing all of this can be.
Right. Like trying to figure out online safety can feel as overwhelming as dealing with the healthcare system.
Exactly. There's so much information, so many warnings, new apps popping up all the time.
It's hard to know where to even start.
And I think that's where tech companies need to do a better job.
Okay.
Not just in building safety features, but in explaining them to people.
So it's not enough to just create the tools they have to teach us how to use them.
Exactly like an instruction manual.
Yeah.
They need to be upfront about how these features work, what their limits are.
Parents shouldn't have to become cybersecurity experts just to keep their kids safe.
Exactly. And it's not just about parents either.
Right. What about the kids themselves?
We can't leave them out of the conversation.
Yeah.
They need to be part of the solution.
So instead of just telling them what not to do,
Right.
we should teach them how to think for themselves online, how to spot danger, how to be responsible.
It's about digital literacy, not just digital restrictions.
I like that.
So we've talked about parents, tech companies, kids.
What about the government?
Ah, yes, the government.
Where do they fit into all of this?
That's a big question. And honestly, it's being debated everywhere right now.
Yeah.
Governments are starting to realize they need to do something about online safety, especially for kids.
And we're seeing some new laws and proposals, right?
Yeah, some countries are talking about stricter age verification, making tech companies responsible for harmful content, giving parents more control over their kids' data.
But it's a tricky situation, right?
It is very tricky.
How do you protect kids without limiting free speech?
Exactly. And how do you make sure these rules don't stifle innovation?
And how do you enforce them when the internet is global?
It's a tough balancing act.
It is. It's going to take a lot of work to figure this all out.
A lot of collaboration, a lot of careful thought.
But we have to do it right.
The stakes are too high.
Because this isn't just about what's happening on Roblox right now.
Right.
It's about the kind of digital world we want to create for the future.
A world where everyone can connect and create without being afraid.
That's a great way to put it.
This has been a really thought-provoking deep dive.
It has. We've gone deep into the world of online safety.
From the tech side to the human side.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
This is a conversation that needs to continue.
We need to stay informed, stay engaged, keep asking questions.
Because the future of online safety
is up to all of us.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep the conversation going.